Bright QT. Every student matters.
Welcome back, children. So we have again come back to Unit 2 reading part. So as I told you that reading enhances skills of your language, as well as it develops your listening and speaking skill too, together. Through reading, why I am talking about listening and speaking skill? Because reading is such a part where you intend to learn all kinds of separate difficult words, separate kind of words, as well as when you discuss that with your friend, you learn the skill of listening as well as speaking too. So today, while doing the reading passage, I will definitely want to say that understanding intensive and extensive reading and practicing global comprehension is very, very important part in 12th class. So reading can be two types. One is intensive, the other is extensive. The intensive way of reading is which you read thoroughly for the sense of learning, for the sense of learning while reading. It involves the learners reading in detail and in specific learning pattern. You have to, while you are sitting for your exam or taking your exam, your reading has to be intensive because you need to learn, read as well as learn. Extensive reading, on the other hand, it is reading for the sake of pleasure. You are reading a storybook, okay? You are enjoying, you are reading an advertisement, okay? There, the advertisement can be both the thing. It can be intensive as well as extensive. So, if a common man is reading an advertisement or going through the advertisement and enjoying, about a drink or so, like Pepsi or Cola. But the advertisers, the department of advertisement, when it goes through advertisement, remember, they have to do a thorough study about what advertisement is. So they have to be extremely intelligent to handle the part of advertisement. So that it can equally be intensive as well as extensive. Intensive, if you are a practitioner, if you are really doing advertisement as your practice or as your business, in that case you need to know a detailed study about advertisement. And if you are a common person like all of us, we love to see that the beautiful advertisement of Amul milk or a beautiful advertisement of some product which you are very fond of. It can be chips, it can be anything. So that is what is extensive learning. You are learning through reading the advertisement, but you are not very much keen to, remember each and every word and learning the entire technique of it. So what it is said that reading can be intensive or extensive. Intensive reading involves learner reading in detail with specific learning aims. Remember that we need specific learning aims and tasks. Like while doing intensive reading, we have to set up a task and be thorough about it. And you have to give an exam or a task of that. And extensive reading, on the other hand, is reading for pleasure and to develop general reading skill. It is to enjoy your reading skill. You can enhance your language in any way. So, if you are a good reader and if you are fond of books, so you are developing your general reading skill. So, if I am coming to discuss in pair, which of the following would be intensive reading or extensive reading? Okay. So, if you ask me, I will say that reading and advertisement can be both. Both. So, you know why? Because for last 20 years, advertisement have taken up a complete boost, in the new era, in the new world. Advertisement is a thing which is promoting every product, and the sale of it depends on the advertisement. So reading and advertisement is just not only reading. It is not only extensive that you are enjoying reading an advertisement of something, but nowadays it is a professional thing. So the main companies who are handling advertisements, they are doing intensive study, like thorough reading, thoroughly dealing with it, each and every part of it. They have to know each and every knowledge about advertisement. So I will say that it can be both intensive or extensive. Reading poetry can be a pleasureful thing. Again, yet, if you are learning and you have to give a task of it, then it has to be intensive too. Poetry you enjoy, people enjoy reading poetry. Not necessarily you need to be a poet to read poetry. Apart from being a poet, you are wonderfully, you can wonderfully go along with your poetry, reading poetry session. So that can be extensive. That is what is extensive, if you are really enjoying poetry. But as said, that if it is, you are learning for some aim or task, like in the school, if you are learning a poetry for the sake of, you are giving a presentation. You are one of the best poet in the school. You have created your own poem and you are having a task to present it in front of the people around you, the teachers, the students. So mainly this will be extensive as well as intensive for some. Studying in for exam, no doubt, it is result oriented. So it is only and only intensive. Reading the newspaper, it is for the sake of pleasure. Definitely, you feel relaxed. So this is what is known as extensive reading. Okay, children, so now it is clear to you that whenever some kind of reading is compact with your learning process as well as presentation process, a task process, then it is intensive. Maybe anything. Like if you say, for an example, that I am giving a debate. Okay, I am learning for debate. I can I can just read debate, like political debates, you see. We listen, we forget. We enjoy for the time. That is what is extensive. But if personally you are presenting a debate competition, if you are given a task to do it, you have to give some input of your knowledge, then in that case it will be intensive reading. So let me come to the next page, children. I will read this passage, which is a very interesting passage, It is a passage about, it is not exactly a passage, it is a kind of a story. So I'll read the story in front of you, The Doing of Vera. Vera is a little girl. So the story is about the psychology of Vera, what exactly her behavior means in this passage. What kind of mental level the child has, and why she is, what kind of behavior she is presenting in front of people. Maybe very positive, maybe very negative sometimes, but why? That is to be known. So this is a story about the little girl Vera, and before that, let me come to the reading part and let you know what the story is about. After receiving the visitors, the countess means wife of the earl, wife of the earl. Earl is the king. Wife of the earl, who was extremely tired, passed order to the staff to turn away anyone else who turned up at the door. Only those who come to congratulate were to be invited for the dinner. Now, the story starts with the countess who is the wife of the earl. She is extremely tired and she feels that she has ordered her staff that nobody should enter her hall until and unless it is emergency, or those who have come to congratulate her would be invited for the dinner. There must be some reason to congratulate her that has not been yet discussed. Let us see that since she was the wife of the earl, many people came to used to come to congratulate her. So that might be one of the reasons that people came to invite her, and she had only ordered to bring inside the house and invite them for dinner. The countess was eager to have a talk. Tete-a-tete means a heart-to-heart talk with her childhood friend, Princess Anna. So this is about the story about the countess, the wife of the earl, as well as her friend, Princess Anna. Princess Anna Mikhailovna. Princess Anna Mikhailovna, whom she had not seen ever since she returned from St. Petersburg. So where she used to stay? The countess used to stay at St. Petersburg. After a long time, she was meeting her friend. She was meeting her friend named Anna Mikhailovna. Anna Mikhailovna, with her tear-worn yet pleasant face, drew her chair closer to that of the countess. I will be frank with you, countess. There are not many old friends left for me, which is why I value your friendship so much, she said. Before proceeding further, she looked at Vera, the countess' daughter. Now comes the second part of the story. When Anna met Countess, she with her tearful but pleasant, happy and pleasantful face, though there were tears in her eyes, because she was meeting her friend after a long time. She said, Countess, I am eagerly waiting to talk to you and enjoy with you, because barely we get some time to spend with our friend, and hardly I've got some friend like you. So today I would like to have a pleasant time with you talking. The moment she was saying that, Anna had a look at the little girl Vera, who is the daughter of the countess. She was also sitting there. Her name is Vera, the daughter of the countess. She was also sitting there. She looked at Vera and she paused. She kept quiet for a minute. Like she gave a hint that probably if we two are talking, we elders are talking, let Vera not be there with us. Okay? And the countess came to know about it. She could have said some in a different way that Vera, will you please go and play somewhere or go and sit somewhere. But let us see what the countess, she did with her. Vera was sitting there and Anna Mikhailovna, she was wanting to eagerly talk with her friend. She was, overwhelmed to see her friend. She was wanting to talk to her. But she was little hesitant because Vera was sitting there. So while she looked and paused, then the countess said, noticing the direction of her gaze means to look at, and the countess pressed her hand gently and said, Vera, she said to the eldest daughter, how can you be so tactless? How can you be so tactless? The mother said to the child, the countess said to the child, Vera, how can you be so tactless? Means, how can you be so careless? Can't you see that your presence is not wanted here? Can't you see that your presence is not wanted here? Please go to your sisters. Or, okay, now see children, a little girl who is growing up and sitting in front of the mother and her friend. Obviously, her self-respect should have been noticed by the countess, but she didn't do that. She just rebuked her and said, what are you doing here? Why are you so tactless? Why are you so careless? Why are you sitting in front of two of us? Why don't you go and play with your sisters? Probably, the countess could have talked in a different way, in a separate way altogether. She could have said, okay, Anna, she is my daughter Vera, and she studies somewhere, or etc. etc. Let them. She could have introduced both of them to her friend as well as Vera, and then she could have said that Vera, since two of the senior, your mom and her friend, the senior people are talking, so would you please like to go and sit inside and do something what you want? This wasn't the way, the positive way wasn't taken by the countess. She spoke very rudely to Vera. The beautiful Vera smiled in contempt but did not let the hurt if she felt. She was hurt, but she did not let it feel. The hurt she felt any show. Of course, mother, if you had told me earlier, I would have left immediately. Though she was internally hurt, she didn't feel good. She was a growing aged girl. She didn't feel good. Then what she said? Yes, mother, but she hid her feelings. She tried to hide her feelings and said, oh, sure, mom, why not? But you could have told me earlier. I would have gone I could have gone away much earlier. You could have told to me earlier itself. I could have done that. Of course, mother, you had told me earlier. I would have left immediately, she replied and rose to leave on her own room. Now comes the story of Vera. As Vera passed the sitting room, that means the drawing room, she noticed two couples. Two couples, like one boy, one girl, and another boy and another girl, sitting, one pair at each window. So where did she notice the two couple? In the sitting room. She got to see two pairs. Okay? One was, each of them were sitting in the window. She paused and smiled scornfully at them, since she was not in a she was in a foul mood. So she smiled at them, but not very happily. Nicholas was copying of some verses for Sonia. One of the couple's name was Nicholas and the girl's name was Sonia. So what Nicholas was doing? He was copying some verses, some poem verses for Sonia. The first he had ever written, she sat beside him and watched. When Nicholas was writing some verses like poem for Sonia, what she did, she came and sat beside her and she started watching. The other couple was Boris and Natasha. Boris and Natasha were at the window. They, having noticed her, ceased talking when Vera entered the room. Both girls looked at Vera with guilty, happy face. They were happy, but they were feeling a little bit guilty to see Vera. But Vera was not very happy to see them because her experience with her mother was not very happy. So when she went inside, she just marked that Nicholas and Soma, they were sitting in the window and one was writing the verse, the other came and sat beside him. And the second pair, whose name was Boris and Natasha, what they were doing, Vera with guilty face saw Vera with guilty happy faces. Both girls looked at Vera with guilty happy faces. When both the pairs they saw Vera there, they were a little bit guilty, but they made happy faces. The sight of the little girl in love was pleasant and touching one. Both the sight of the little girls, like Soumya and Natasha, both were looking very pleasant and touching. Yet, apparently, it aroused no pleasant feeling in Vera. Though the two girls were looking very pleasant, but surprisingly, Vera didn't feel very good. She was not happy with whatever they were doing. Actually, she was in a foul mood. If it would have been some other time, she would have been happy. But this time not. Inside her, there was a pain. A pinch of salt was there. And she didn't like them sitting together. She stopped in front of Nicholas and said, "How often have I asked you not to take my things?" She was rude. She said, "Why have you taken my pen or anything to write the verses? How many times did I tell you not to touch my things?" She said, "You have a room of your own," and she took the inkstand from Nicholas. She said, "Go away to your own room. Since you have got your own room, why are you sitting and handling my things? Please do that. Don't do that. You give your inkstand to me. It's not yours, it's mine. Please don't touch it. You go and sit in your room." In a minute, he said. He said, okay, in a minute I'll give it back to you. Dipping his pen one last time before inkstand was withdrawn from his reach. He said, "Okay, 1 minute, Vera. I will just touch the pen and I will bring it. I'll dip the pen and I'll take it off." But Vera didn't listen. She took away the inkstand. "You always manage to do wrong things in wrong time," continued Vera. She started, hurting and humiliating the boy, Nicholas. She said, "You are always like that. You don't care for anything. You take people's thing and you start using it without knowing what you are doing." She said, "You always manage to do wrong things on wrong time. You come rushing into the drawing room as that everyone felt ashamed of you." She started rebuking her that you are so careless that you come rushing inside the room without taking permission and people feel ashamed of you. Though what she said was quite just, okay, whatever she was saying was not wrong. She was probably right. That why he has taken the thing of Vera without asking her. Maybe an instant. Why? And why does he behave so carelessly that whenever he wants he can come into the room, and whenever he comes he can just come running inside the room, making people ashamed. Vera would not have said this if she was in a good mood. But the way her mother behaved with her, actually, that made her sad. And this was the repercussion of that same incident. Perhaps that's the very reason no one replied. Everybody kept quiet. They could feel that Vera is not in a good mood. And the four simply looked at one another. They were surprised to see the behavior of Vera, but since she was the daughter of the Earl, everybody kept quiet and looked at each other. She continued to linger in the room with the inkstand in her hand. It was a very simple issue, very simple thing. The boy was writing something, Nicholas was writing for something for her girlfriend, for his girlfriend. So what if he has taken the inkstand? But yes, in US and Western countries, they feel that asking is a part of life. You must take permission before you are using even your mother's thing, even your brother's thing. You are supposed to take permission. You just can't take it away. Probably she was right, but she could have been more polite and humble with them. But her previous experience with her mother made her feel so depressed that she was unable to control herself, and her rude behavior came out. And all the four persons, the two pairs, the two couples, they were looking at each other, but they didn't talk about it at all. So now let me come to the question answers. Okay. Let me give you the question and the answers. What instruction did the Countess pass to her staff? She instructed her staff to turn away anyone else who turned up at the doors. Anyone else who turned up at the doors. Okay. So what led Vera leave her mother's room? Vera left her mother's room after the Countess told her to go. Because Princess Anna did not want her presence. Maybe she was hesitant to talk in front of the little girl. Why did Vera scold Nicholas? Vera scolded Nicholas for he had taken for he had taken her things. Her things. What was the reaction of the two young couples to Vera's admonishment? None of them replied. They just looked at each other. What do you infer about Vera's character from the passage? What do you think the character of Vera must have been? She was a nice girl, but she had her self-respect. She was scolded by her mother in front of her friend. Naturally, she was upset. Probably she was not wanting to be rude, but she had to be because she couldn't have a control over her anger or her sad feeling. So we will write that Vera is a very stoic person. Stoic. Stoic person. What is the meaning of stoic? Stoic is a person who never shows her feeling. She was sad. She could have shared with her friends, but she didn't do that. She was hiding her anger. So she is to be a stoic person. Living by the rules, and yet lonely. Actually, she was very lonely. And yet lonely because she was not happy. Because she was not happy. So what it is said, what do you find from the passage, children? That this kind of, unnatural behavior or you can say fluctuating behavior comes up within a person when you are not very happy with your surrounding. Maybe a very simple girl with a very simple surrounding is very, very happy and cheerful, always jumping and smiling and laughing because she is not being insulted by anybody. She is a loved person. Everybody loves her in the family. But in Countess family, like the Prince of Earl or the King of Earl, maybe they have got ample of money, maybe they have got ample of things and there are so many people worshipping them. But the inner feeling, the feeling between child and the parents are somewhere, there is a huge gap. The mother doesn't know the sentiment of her daughter Vera at all. And her fanatic behavior has made Vera a very unpredictable child. Unpredictable in a sense. Suddenly she got a threat from her mother, and she was thrashed by her mother actually in front of her friend. She was so sad that she couldn't keep her behavior under control. She wasn't happy. As simple, she was never happy. So whenever she dealt with the people, most of the time she is rude, rough and tough. She is very unpredictable and unhappy. Which word in the passage means disrespect? Is tactless. Tactless. Okay. So I have given you all the detail about the passage. Now I am coming to the next reading passage, children. This is a discursive essay. The next one is the discursive essay. As I told you that what is the meaning of discursive essay? Discursive passage is the passage which includes argument, which includes interpretative and persuasive text. So, discursive are, what are they? Passages are argumentative, interpretative as well as persuasive. This kind of text is known as discursive essay. So, now we are talking about discursive essay. Another type of passage you may come then attempting comprehension is a discursive essay. A discursive essay is an informal essay about a controversial topic. Controversial topic matlab where there is a debate, like yes and no and yes and no. Topic where the author provides justification for both the sides. Though the author he provides justification for both the sides. It can be yes, it can be no. While explaining why he or she favors one over the other, a discursive passage provides logical arguments. Obviously, it is a debating argument. You have to debate on the basis of that. That is what is known as discursive passage. That you may say that like yesterday, as I read in a passage that reservations are important or not. Some say it is important, some say it is not. Do you think that there should be some changes in it? Some say yes, there should be some change. Some say no, there should not be any change for the development of India. So, a discursive essay provides logical argument on one aspect and any topic, while also anticipating and answering the counter arguments on the opposite aspect, right? Both the side argument is required. So here we are discussing about the need to learn languages. Is it important that we should learn multiple languages? Yes or no? Earlier, children, just with a pause, 1 minute pause, I will just let you know one thing, that earlier in 2000 and before that in 1930 onward till 2000, there were people who knew multiple languages, and there are particular jobs for the person who used to do such kind of thing. They are the interpreters. They used to interpret like a Japanese came here to talk in English. Japanese minister came here and he doesn't know to speak English, so he will speak in Japanese and the interpreter will speak on behalf of in English. So, this kind of knowing languages were important at that time. But now, the current age, for last 10 years, when the globalization has started, the theories have changed. Lot many languages are here, even in our country. Yes, even in our country, and there are multiple children, there are many children who loves to learn various kinds. Each and every school is having various and different kind of languages right at the moment, because it has become very popular. Like you all know, French, German, Japanese and these kind of languages which are getting very popular whole over the world. English is always very popular, but French language, French, German and Japanese, they are becoming very popular at present moment. So, this is about the globalization and breakdown of communication barrier. Like the world is getting global, the entire now India is only India, knowing nothing about US or the world. It's not like that. The entire world is connected by the internet, the modern gadgets. We are all connected to each other. We have video conferencing. We need not to go to US. Our Prime Minister can have a video conferencing with the President of US anytime he likes. Even here, like I am communicating with you via, network learning, and I can easily, one day will come, it will be live and I will talk with you directly. Okay, you'll be sitting in front of me and I'll be talking to you. So it has become very globalization, and naturally the more globalization, the more there will be no barrier in communication. A person from Punjab can speak Bengali, a person from Bengali, like I am a Bengali, so I can speak in Punjabi language also, and I can speak English too. I can speak my own language, I can speak Hindi. So the world has become, the globalization has, it is so much vast nowadays that it has already, have no barriers. Communication has got no barriers now. So let me read the passage for you. Globalization and the breakdown of communication barriers have led to a dissolution of boundaries. There are dissolution, matlab the boundaries are gone. The meaning of dissolution means that there are no more boundaries of teaching, learning or speaking to each other. You can speak or teach in any language. There is no need, sometimes there is no need. Nowadays the children are so smart that they can speak French themselves. People are traveling across the world not just for tourism but also for employment. Naturally, people are going to Japan, they are going to Indonesia, they are going to Korea. They are going to Korea is nowadays a very, very popular place for job. So they are going to Korea, they are going to various kind of places. They are going to Japan, where there are opportunities of job, and they are going to US. They always used to go to. Nowadays, the other countries are also becoming very popular for giving them job. This one is Canada and another is Germany. But also for employment, looking for the finding new opportunities to enhance their career prospect. People go there to enhance their career prospect. If supposedly I feel that I would like to study in Harvard, nobody can stop me for doing that. I can easily go be global. I can easily communicate with them, and I can go, if I'm a good student, if I am getting proper marks and I can communicate with them properly, then I can easily go to Harvard University. It is in this context that the argument for learning a new language becomes even more and more pressing. So nowadays, if it is a debate between the thing whether you should learn different languages, yes or no, there is no to it. Everybody will say yes, definitely. Don't forget your mother tongue. Don't forget your country's language. Don't forget the first language of your country. Don't forget that. But if you are learning some other language, that is added advantage, children. You must learn, you must, various kind of language. Whichever you feel like, you must learn. And believe me, it is very, very beneficial. It is common knowledge that the world is multilingual. What is the meaning of multilingual? Like various kind of languages are spoken all over the world. Okay. Estimates state that there are over 6,500 languages. Remember, children, this is the data. We have to remember there are 6,500 languages all over the world. Some might argue that regardless of the sheer numbers, the knowledge of one language is adequate for furthering one's career prospect. Like many people argue that knowing only one or two languages is more than enough to carry on with your job, to carry on with your career prospect. It's not required that you need multiple languages, you have to be multilingual. While this may have been true in the past, like I said, in the past, people used to speak only two languages, mother tongue as well as the country's language, Hindi. For further one's career prospect, while this may have been true in the past, in the current climate of increasing competition, economic recession, and the multinational companies, the knowledge of the second and even a third language can serve. Even a third language can serve as a handy attribute to one resume. Look, supposedly, I can give you an example of this passage. That supposedly, I'm a mechanical engineer. Okay, and I'm interested about cars. The Japanese cars, the Korean cars are extremely popular in the whole of the world. And suppose from the very beginning it's my target that I need to do something great on my line. So what I'll do? I will definitely do my subject first. Along with that, I would know to speak Hindi, I would know to speak English, I would know to speak Japanese, I would know to speak Korean. So if you are knowing the third or the fourth language, it's a great opportunity for you will be the first one to be chosen in the company because of your language prowess. These are those who argue learning new languages only create confusion in the mind and leads to a situation. People say that learning too much of a language is too much of creating problem in your mind. Obviously, normal person cannot learn 4 languages at a time because their mind doesn't permit. But the people who are very extremely intelligent, they have got the process of language learning. Sometimes they have. I've heard of a person who knew 17 languages. Yes, I am true. He is my father's relative and he knew 17 languages. So there are many like that in this world. There are many, not only that one of my relatives is that, but there are many people who know many languages. So if your mind is not broad, you will not be able to pick up many languages. Obviously, nobody can. Very few people, rare percentage is there who can speak multiple languages. There is not even a language is mastered to adequate proficiency. They say that we don't even master. If you are speaking English, you are not mastering over the subject. First master over one subject at least. Then you try to be more sincere about the other subjects. This is partially right. I think it's partially right. That definitely you learn multiple subjects. But first, the subject which you need most, you should be very thorough about it. Scientific research proved this assumption wrong. In fact, learning a new language has found to boost brain activity, obviously. The study has also shown that a child from 6 months to 6 years, if you can teach the child 4 languages, 5 languages at a go, the child will know to speak. The child will speak all the languages, at least 2-3 lines of all the subjects, of all the languages. This research has shown this. So, it gives a boost to the brain and memory. Obviously, if you are learning 4 languages at a time, it is a boost to your brain and to your memory. Equally, if you learn language, you can also easily learn each other languages and belong to the same family. For instance, when you learn French, you will find it far easier to learn Spanish and Italian as well. Once if you learn French, you can easily learn Spanish and as well as Italian. Let me tell you one thing, children. Actually, English has also been taken somewhere from the Spanish language. The Spanish people first came and stayed in the US when it was invented, and the mixture of Greek and Spanish language became the history of English literature on the time-to-time basis, and the English language was created. So Spanish is given very much priority in America. While you go there by flight, you will see that first they will speak in Spanish, first they will speak in English, then they will speak in Spanish. Definitely they are going to speak in Spanish because America is Spanish people, dominated by the Spanish people. Once you learn French, you are able to learn Italian as well as Spanish language. Learning a new language further aids in creating more harmonious society. Obviously, if you are knowing 2, 3, 4 languages at a time, you are definitely harmonious. You are great. Simple people will worship you. They will like you like anything. When you learn the new language, you also learn about the culture and the ways of those people. Like how lucky you are to see that. How lucky. Me being a Bengali I'm in Delhi, so I know the culture of the Punjabis as well. I know their culture, how they behave, what they love to eat. Even I respond to their, choices. I respond to their way of talking. I respond to the way they love their life. Me being a Bengali, I know what is Bengali and what is my culture and what we do. Me staying in Bihar knows what Biharis are like and how they interact and what is their favorite food and which is their favorite food and what are their likings. So, knowing various kind of language can bring you more global. You can be more global and you can be loved by all the people. Even knowing that a Punjabi can very lovingly say that, oh my God, you can speak Punjabi. So that is one of the best, best part of the thing that globalization and multilingual has brought in our life. If you are learning new language because you wish to move to a new place, this will only help you assimilate and more easily of the new surrounding. People who argue that it is easy to get by in another country or culture without learning the language ignore the segregation and isolation created by the language barrier. Even if you are not knowing the language, you will not feel, you will not be segregated there. People carry his book with them nowadays. They translate. And you believe me, nowadays the body language has also become so popular, and even they are also knowing so many things about India that if you go there, if you go to abroad countries, they will not let you feel, they will not, learning the language, ignore the segregation and isolation created by the language barrier. No, it is not like that always. There is no language barrier as such. It's wonderful sometimes. Even the person who doesn't know English, gone to London, not understanding the language, like multiple, family from India has gone to Canada. The Canadian language is not that easy. They understand English. So even the person who have gone from India to Canada, those who are some taxi drivers or working in small fields there, they fluently start speaking in English after few months. So language is not always a barrier. Definitely not. Learning a new language never harmed anyone. Increasingly becoming multilingual has turned into a desirable trait. It is one of the best traits in the world right at the moment. If you are multilingual, you are always respected by others. Especially for those looking to widen their career prospect, learning a new language only serves as to stop the right direction. Now, based on reading the passage, these statements are true or false. Let us see whether it is true or false. The globalization had led to the dissolution of borders. It is definitely true. Definitely true. The impact of the economic recession is an argument in favoring the being multilingual. True. Definitely true. Learning a new language leads to widening gaps between the culture. Not at all. It's totally false. It is never true Rather, it is totally false. A multilingual person has more prospect in terms of employment globally. Absolutely true. Knowing more than two languages can create confusion and communication. Not at all false. Learning one language from same language family makes it no easier to learn others from the same family. Not at all. We can learn anything, anytime, any language. False. So this is also false. Now let us come to the word meaning of absorb. Absorb is to soak. Like the blotting paper absorbs the ink, it soaks. Now next is disintegration, to separate. Expertise, expertise means that you are expert in that particular, competent. Period of decline is degenerate. And quality is the standard, the level. The level or the standard. Let us come back. Let us go back to the next page. Okay, we have to fill in the blanks here. Okay, we have to do the fill in the blanks here. So, globalization and industrialization. Globalization and industrialization have broken down the traditional barrier of communication. Next is adaptation is easy. Adaptation is easy if you know the language of the new place where you are moving. Okay. Now, learning a new language can be extremely beneficial if you are looking for a new place. Increasing competition urbanization and technology advancement had made learning a second language an advantage. If you don't know the language of the new place you intend to move to, you face many loneliness and isolation. Okay, children, the entire passage is over. So, how wonderful passage it is, you see, that now we have come to know that all the languages, whole of the world, as many languages you can, it is always beneficial for you. And you know, there are some parallel, it has also already been written in the passage that some parallel languages are there, like if you learn French, then you can learn Italian as well as the other language together too. What was it? It was the Italian and the so if you are learning French language, you can learn Spanish as well as Italian very soon. You are knowing 4 languages, you see. You are knowing English, you are knowing French, you are knowing Spanish as well as you are knowing Italian. So this is the benefit that wherever, in whichever country you go, you might get the first opportunity to be in that country, and the placement of job of yours is sure to be.